What up? This is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of Netflix new series, Smother-In-Law. Hey, before you watch my review, please subscribe to my channel, press that like button, and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you'd like to help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this. First up, I would like to say thank you to Netflix for granting me the screeners to the first 4 episodes of this new show, which by the way, hails from the country Brazil. So while you're at it, come also check out my previous reviews of Netflix other Brazilian contents, such as Just Short of Perfect and Get the Goat, all of which you can watch right here only on Rama Screen YouTube channel. Okay, so this show is basically your textbook sitcom with laugh tracks. Not sure if it's multicam style film in front of the live audience, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Oh, and the lead character, Isadir, is basically Brazilian Madea. So if you are fans of Tyler Perry's Madea films, then odds are you are gonna like Smother-In-Law. Unless of course you don't find any of the punchlines particularly funny. Oh, and there's a little bit of Jeffersons in there as well, because Isadir moved from a bad neighborhood to a fancy neighborhood. And so she's moving on up to the east side. But I digress. As always, it's difficult to judge any show based on just 4 episodes, but here's my verdict thus far. To me, Smother-In-Law is a hit and miss. And sometimes I think the jokes get lost in the translation. My guess is that if you are Brazilian, you can read between this show's lines and catch the nuances of its humor. As for the rest of us, we can settle on just laughing at its zany slapstick comedy of roasting each other. Created by Rodrigo Sant'anna, in Smother-In-Law, Isadir is the nightmarish mother-in-law living with her son's wealthy family since the pandemic struck. She is confident that Carlos needs a better wife than the sophisticated Alice and will do whatever it takes to avoid moving back to her small flat in a low-income neighborhood in Rio de Janeiro's Zona Norte. So the character Isadir is overbearing and opinionated. She shoots from the hip and says the first thing that comes to her mind. She always criticizes her daughter-in-law, but her crankiness is what makes her such a joy to watch. And Rodrigo performs this role with the same pompous, hard-to-please attitude as Tyler Perry does Madea, like a bull in a china shop. Obviously, the supporting characters are there to revolve around and react to Donna Isadir for most of the time. I'm assuming that many of these actors are well known in Brazil, because every time they step into a scene, there's a roaring applause as if the audiences are excited to see them. As I mentioned earlier, hit and miss. Not all of the jokes will crack you up, not all of the jokes will land, but in the same vein as Everybody Loves Raymond and others like it, these guys would make fun of each other to no end, and every verbal jab comes in hyperbole or exaggerations. The episodes run really fast, they waste no time whatsoever, and the whole bloopers thing in the post-credit is a nice touch in my opinion. My favorite character is actually the maid, who constantly refuses to serve Isadir on the account that she's not actually her boss. The maid has no problem going toe-to-toe with Donna Isadir, while the rest of them are either oblivious or just straight up irritated by her presence. Okay, doing an old-fashioned sitcom like this on a streaming service platform like Netflix is tricky. It's really tough for these shows to get eyeballs. Not to mention we live in a day and age when people think that laugh tracks are a distraction rather than a useful tool. But after having watched and reviewed many of Netflix Brazilian shows and movies, many of them are more on the serious dramatic thriller side. Something like Smother-In-Law is a welcome change of pace. I definitely gotta give Rodrigo major props for unleashing his inner Mrs. Doubtfire in a significantly crass way. It's quite a gamble, and only time will tell whether or not this would pay off.